Hey guys, hope you're having a beautiful day. This is Justin here. Just wanted to show you and talk to you a little bit about the core values and the vision for Awakening Aesthetics and where it really came from. It's kind of an old story and it's an old concept that I've had for a long time. This goes far back to, sorry for the lighting and the adjustments there, but this goes all the way back to when I was a kid. Like, right after I've struggled with my health most of my life, whereas health has been the priority for me. So whenever I lose my health, and you could probably relate, because our health is our most valued thing, but we're not taught and shown the right way to value our health. And also we're not raised that way. We're raised to work, we're raised to not listen to our body, we're raised to just put your head down and just do things that you don't like. And then you wonder, and if you got problems, like, take that pill, take this pill. It's not about root issues and fixing the root cause of all these issues. So ever since I was a kid, like when I was a young baby, I had a lot of hard times breathing in the hospital and everything like that. And I started young, like, with health issues. So, like, my lungs failed me when I was a kid. I was underweight. And then, throughout my childhood, I had asthma really bad in school. So I couldn't swim. Like, I couldn't keep up with my friends. I really sucked at sports and all these things. So it's why I enjoy bodybuilding today, because it's something that I couldn't pursue when I was younger, even if I really wanted to, because no one really could help me. No one had any cures. They just throw inhalers at you. My mom and dad didn't know. They weren't raised in the way that valued health. Like, they didn't understand. They don't know what I know and who I am. So it's been like part of my purpose all my life to pursue and take care of health. And I've learned the hard ways of health and what can happen when you lose your health. Even just over the last couple of years, I've been challenged with health. Was working out way too hard, doing the wrong programming for my workouts. So I'm there to get healthy originally, and then it's the very thing that where the ego kind of comes in, where it's like, okay, no more listening to your body. I'm sure you can relate. It's like, and there's certain times where, you can't listen to your body. Like, I gotta do what I gotta do, whether I feel like it or not, right? And that's what it takes to be successful. But most of the time, you should still listen to your body. So if your body's telling you to rest and sleep, you should do those things, because the 4 doctors that I learned from Paul Chek is Dr. Quiet, Dr. Movement, Dr. Happiness, and you got to pay attention to all those aspects, because if you miss one, and if you're overthinking, you're gonna go crazy. And if you're not moving, or you're moving too much, you're not gonna function right. If you're not breathing, and also if you're not thinking right in a positive way, that's going to affect your health. So, you got to take into account all these things. I'm 32 years old right now. But also, at 19 years old, I went to Indonesia, and and I struggled with my health for years. I ate fast food, and I started working when I was 15 years old. Started working full time at about 16, and I struggled with school. I ended up dropping out in grade 12 because I ended up getting nowhere. And also, the school system was not designed to support my learning style. I was never a mental person, do this, do that, listen. I never accepted the program of schooling, and I always wanted a body approach and an example approach, and actually, I had amazing skills. And that's what's wrong with the school systems today, is that they don't focus on your strengths. They try to make you work at things that you're never really going to be good at, and it's not even your calling or your style of learning. So it's absolute madness. And then they label you. So what they did to me in school, especially in high school, is they put me in IOP, which is idiots on patrol. But no, it's because you have, and they call you stupid. And then next thing you know, you actually Like, I knew inside my heart and in my soul that I was a really intelligent kid. Like, I grew up in the woods. I was a farming, like, I grew up with a farming father, and knew that working and putting in the work on land, and I knew a lot. Like, I was really good at sports in my own way eventually, but I had breathing issues. I was really good at snowboarding. I was amazing at like quadding and snowmobiling. Those were kind of my styles. Anything that used my body, that's how I connected with what I was learning with. And if anything was removed from my body, it was just like, I was horrible at it. I could not do it. I was just terrible at it. And then I was labeled and degraded. And next thing you know, I started to believe those very things, those thoughts, right? So I was like, grade 8. And it wasn't until I did like the Terry Fox run up in Canada, I think it was like grade 8. That's when I was like kind of like one of the popular kids, and like when I was hanging out with my buddies, and I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to be athletic, and I always had this inhaler. I always had trouble breathing. I was always like a little bit underweight because I was like malnourished, because asthma and all those things come from actually like just malnutrition. So if you got like those kinds of issues, you can actually fix them really easily. Getting rid of fast food out of your diet and stuff like that, which, we didn't do. We ate it all just like everybody else. So I was eating like wild meat, but also, so anyway, it wasn't until I did that run and I was like so mad. I was so mad, and I was so done having the label of not being able to breathe, sucking at all these sports, that I was like, you know what, guys? I'm just going to throw the inhaler out and I'm just going to run. I don't care how much it hurts. Like, it sucks. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever had asthma or know people that with asthma. It's like a totally disempowering kind of feeling. You like, your lungs are heavy, and you're like, it's like you can never catch your breath. So it's like a terrible feeling. So I just ran through the pain, and I'll never forget it, because it was the first time where I started listening to myself and not the world about what I can't do and what I could not do and all these negative concepts. And I just threw it out the window, and I hurt my lungs to a new level. And we passed the entire school, me and my buddies, is actually my buddy Spencer and Jordan. And these guys were like good athletes, healthy young guys, and we were best friends. And I always wanted to be like, I always wanted to like perform like they did. And so I hung around with those guys, I wanted to mentor from them. And I was a great snowboarder eventually, but I didn't get good at that until high school. But anyway, I stuck with them and I learned from them, and we like dominated the race. And I'll never forget it. Like, I had 3 days of like struggling, of like my lungs hurt so bad because I fought through that asthma and through the health problem. And I was like, I don't need it anymore. I was upset. I was fed up. And it was actually at that time that I finally started to heal, because I told myself a different story and I threw the medicine out. I had to go against my mom, my dad, or like telling me all the time, you have to take this shit and these puffers, these inhalers to breathe. I'm like, I'm done with that. So when I did that, that's when I actually started to heal. And I finally started to heal my lungs. Like, my lungs hurt so bad for 3 days after. Like, they were just like, oh. But what I did is I pushed through a boundary, and I actually healed my lungs. I started the healing process, and I never really had asthma after that. So it was only once I threw that out and pursued what I really wanted to be doing. And I actually got really good at snowboarding from about like 12 years old to 15. I was starting to be a really good athlete. And then next thing you know, everyone was getting into drugs. And also people were breaking their necks and shit, and it was getting really competitive. And also, so I kind of got like the fear, and I realized like, like everyone's just like drug addicts and lost. And anyway, I ended up moving at that time from Fort McMurray, Alberta, and we ended up pursuing a family business down in Westlock, Alberta, and going south and leaving my hometown and leaving all my high school friends and everything that I grew up with. I lived out in the country. It was like an amazing life, okay? Like, we wanted more though, and we didn't want to like just sit and be comfortable. We wanted to expand and go see other things. So we answered the call to adventure, which I'd highly recommend to you guys. If there's ever a call to adventure, you have to answer it. If you don't, you're going to pay for that call. Like, so many times I've invited great friends away and trips and holidays and backpacking and go anywhere and do amazing things, and they don't answer the call. And then they're like, wonder why, like now it's like 10 years later, they're like stuck and sick and sad and haven't done anything. And now they just got all that regret. I don't even know how they deal with that, because they didn't have the courage to just go and do something. Like right now, this is gonna be a long video, but right now I'm out in New Brunswick because I answered the call of my ex-girlfriend, like of my son. Like my son was here and the courts didn't agree with me and they screwed me over. So I like spun around in circles for a couple years, and you know, and I'm not blaming anyone for that. Like I caused it. I did it all. Like I built up a snow removal business back in Alberta. I built it all up, and I built a family, and I built a relationship, and I was about to get married. I was doing the whole thing. And once I got to the top of my own little like mountain, I realized like I went the wrong direction. I didn't follow my heart. Like it's a long story, but you know, I've traveled the world. I've been all over the place, and I wanted more. I wanted to become like great and do great things with the world. And I've always had this vision about health and helping people. And yeah, it comes down to health. Like I was in Indonesia when I was 19 as well. Kind of jumped around that, but anyway, kind of hard to follow me. But I was down in Indonesia, and I got a parasite infection and a severe illness when I was in Bali. This is like after I quit my job, after working full time at McDonald's for 4 years. I was like, I'm going, you know, I gotta go see the world. I gotta go do some crazy shit and get out of this comfort zone, out of this this endless gaming, drug addicted, alcoholic lifestyle that I did from like 15 to 20. So I had a good taste of the 9-to-5 race. I had a good taste of what the world is really like. Like I was happy that I did that. I dropped out of school because at least I was pursuing something that was getting me forward, moving me forward, because school I was getting nowhere. I actually failed English 3 times in grade 12, or the both semesters. I failed English, and then I failed again, and I was like, you think I'm gonna do that again? You just like, and it's not even that I wasn't like smart. It's just that I hated the work. Like I hated it, and then I had like a 50% attendance. I was too busy skipping school because the results were just horrible, especially in that new town. So anyway, after doing all that, I got really sick in Indonesia. I dropped down to like 110 pounds after I worked my ass off for a long time. And like I was already a light guy. I think I was like 150 pounds when I got sick. So I was already like a lightweight guy. Never really like worked out or anything like that until I was about 19. Sucked at sports, right? All that stuff. Had all these health issues, and no one had any information. So once I went there and got so sick, like I was in bed for 2 weeks. Like I couldn't walk. I was shitting all over the place. Like I had no weight. Like there's a picture of me that you guys can see on my Instagram on Awakening Aesthetics, or you can follow my personal profile. But the Awakening Aesthetics profile, there is one of me, and I'm there with a monkey. And like it was just after I got a little bit better. Like I was already 20 pounds heavier, I think, when I took that picture, and I was like fucking skin and rail. So it wasn't until I really lost my health and destroyed my health, but also seen the world, that I realized like what I really value and what I really wanted to pursue. So I got into health and bodybuilding, and I started my journey. I started my journey in all that direction. And I started going the right way. I took my health seriously. I put on a lot of muscle, and I was like, after I got back to Canada, after I was traveling for about eight months, I went to Indonesia. I went to Thailand for a few months, different visa runs, but Vietnam, seen Malaysia and Singapore, went to Australia in the end. And then I actually started to party there. But at least I was bodybuilding, and I was meeting amazing people from Europe. I have like great best friends that are from Scotland, England, anywhere around the world, New Zealand. And like, these are my brothers that I haven't seen in already a decade, but I still talk to them on social media. Not all of them, but I did all these things. And yeah, like, I really took my bodybuilding stuff seriously. But what ended up happening is, after I came back, after I pursued health and bodybuilding, and I loved it. Like I really did love it back when I was like 21, 22. I ended up having lack of knowledge, and I ended up hurting my thoracic spine and back. I was getting way too strong, and I had all these problems, postural problems that I carried from my jobs and from my life that I never fixed. So I went into this sport with a weak foundation, and I built it up over the like couple years, about 2.5 years of hard work. Retook my health. I was up to 180 pounds. I like did a little, decent transformation. But I was missing a huge piece of knowledge, and I hurt my back, and I had bad posture, and I eventually was in such bad pain that I couldn't train anymore. I couldn't go to the gym anymore. So then it was the one thing that I loved, and I was clean. Like I stopped doing drugs. I didn't smoke. I think I smoked some weed back then, for fun with my buddies, but I stopped drinking, and I sacrificed so much for bodybuilding back when I was 21. This was like 10 years ago. And I did all these things, and I injured myself. I destroyed my body. And a lot of bad things happened in my family and my life at that time. And guess what happened, guys? I went like this. I didn't know what to do. No one could help me. I was in pain all the time, so I started smoking some weed. I got back working in regular jobs. You get the idea. And I was an alcoholic. I started smoking cigarettes. I went down the addictive lifestyle because I was so unhappy with what happened in my life. And instead of like having the strength, the guidance, the mentor, the coaching that could have been there for me to have that knowledge, I ended up falling into the traps of drugs and addictive lifestyle. And it took me like 3 years, about 4 years before I found my recovery. Because while I was in the alcoholic phase and in the drug party phase, like I had fun. Don't get me wrong, I had a blast. Even though I was in a lot of pain, and that's kind of where partying stems from. So you got to be really careful with like why you're drinking, why you're doing drugs, why you're smoking cigarettes. You got to really look deep, find it. It takes a long time, but I went through like a 4-year cycle of really pain, and I nonstop thinking about bodybuilding and how I failed and how I needed to get better and how I wasn't. So I figured it out. I finally found a foam roller and that was what started to heal my spine. And I was in chronic pain for like 3.5, 4 years. So the reason I was drinking and smoking weed was to get rid of the pain. I had physical pain and mental pain because I like failed and I had to live with it. So I was like, oh, poor me, right? Poor me. I gotta go escape. So if you're doing that kind of stuff, it's okay that you're doing it, but really pay attention. Let the depression come in. That these feelings are coming up for a reason, and it's actually okay to go through these emotions, because this is how you find your way. This is how you figure it out, so you get back on track. This is like how it works, the hero's journey. You just it's like build it up, crash it down, build it up, crash it down. So anyway, then after a few years of pain and misery and I realized like how much I really love bodybuilding, and I still wanted to do that stuff, but I healed my body. That was first, right? So then all of a sudden I was like, man, I really want to get my freedom back. I was landscaping at the time. I really want to be working for myself, do my own thing, be my own boss. I really wanted the business. So I really was so passionate about having my own business, although I still had some issues. But I was training again. I didn't have like the vision like I have now in bodybuilding, or health or awakening aesthetics, but I was doing the thing that I enjoyed. I was getting my health back. I was getting my vitality back. So next thing you know, I start to get rid of the cigarettes. I got rid of the alcohol. I cleaned up my life. I started a snow removal business. I worked my way up from the ground up. I had a call to go to British Columbia and be a manager for my mom and dad, actually, at their stores, because they were struggling. They were overworked, stressed out, going through endless battles. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get out of my town. I'm going to bring a guy with me. So I brought my bro Nathan with me, and we went out to BC. We answered the call. We went and built their businesses up. Changed our life around. And then we came back and I launched my own business, and I just crushed it for years, like 4 years, just crushing it, making more money than ever. I think I made $17,000 one month, my highest month. On average, I made over 10 grand a month. And I was like crushing. I had every summer off. I was just like, I've been working for myself now, just so you know, for 8 years. I've been working for myself for 8 years. It has not been easy. It takes a lot of sacrifice, but it's worth it because you have your freedom. If you have your freedom, you have your own creativity, your own thoughts. You're working for your own vision. This is important. So that was my dream. My dream was to do that. So after I did that for a long time, I crashed it all down because I realized like I wanted a business, but I didn't want just any business. So when I got into snow removal, I was working my ass off, and I was like, I loved it for the first 3 years. I had an amazing drive, and I realized like, is this it? Like, is this it? This is what you're settling for, to go push snow and clear people's sidewalks? And I had 4 banks and 4 dental offices. And I had 20 residents in Westlock, Alberta. Like, I was just crushing it. But then I'm like, oh fuck, like what did I do? Like, I made a mistake. I was sitting there one morning and I was like stirring my coffee, not fucking kidding here either. My baby was on the way, or my son was on the way, and I'm like, whatever. Like, my heart started to come back, and I realized like what I really wanted to be doing was bodybuilding. I wanted to train. I wanted to do fitness. I wanted to do what I'm doing right now, and I had to burn it down. It sucked, and everything in my life like went out of control, but it had to go out of control so that I could be where I am now. I moved to BC after that, and everything went to shit. Unfortunately, I also lost my health. I lost my health again because I was working for a company that was burning me out and wasn't aligned with my mission and my purpose and my core values. So it ended up being very dead to me, and that purpose was a purpose that was really strong at the beginning, and then it became very empty and dead to me. And that is okay, because that's how life is. You're supposed to go hard at something, achieve everything out of it, conquer everything, learn everything, experience everything you can out of it, and then let it go and go tackle something else and scare the fuck out of you, you know? So that's how it goes, guys. That's the hero's journey. It's like every 7 years. If you look at your life, every 7 years, look at the times of what was going on around the 7-year increments and how it works. So right now I'm like 4 years in of my next 7-year cycle. So I'm riding up to the top. I'm having a blast. I'm going to get millions of dollars. There's all these great things are happening. I'm launching a campground in the spring. I'm doing all these things. But the last 4 years were not easy. They were the hardest in my life. It was way worse than the drug style back then when I was a kid. Now I've got a 5-year-old son. I'm living in New Brunswick on 17 acres. I own all my stuff. I'm doing all these things. I've turned my ex around, so she's like, we're like better than ever because I faced her, and I didn't allow the law to do the things that they weren't helping me with. I just faced it and dealt with my problem and moved from British Columbia to New Brunswick, all the way across the country, moved my entire life because the courts and the battles and the fighting was not getting me anywhere. I was burning myself out. I was miserable, and I was like, where's this really going to lead? Am I just going to stay separate for the rest of my life and like just be a deadbeat dad like the rest of them? Yeah, I didn't want to move here. Yeah, I didn't want to do all this stuff, but I wanted to be there for my son. I wanted to do the right thing. So I didn't come here to chase her. I came here to do what's right. So here I am, 2 years down the road, over 2 now. And it's the best decision I ever made. Because now, all of a sudden, I'm like, launching a campground. I'm doing fitness every day. I've been bodybuilding now for a good 4 years, healthy, no injuries, God bless. Everything is going the right direction. I'm now inspiring people, inspiring you, hopefully, whoever's watching this, creating a transformation program that I can help you skinny guys pack on some serious muscle and awaken the aesthetic version of yourself. I'm doing all these things now, but it fell apart 4 years ago. It's because this is what I wanted to do. So when bad things happen, here's the moral of the story: when bad shit happens, be okay with it. Accept it. Surrender to it. Don't resist. And read The Power of Now, because that's going to help you. Reading The Power of Now will help you live through those bad times and just keep going. Don't stop. Don't quit. Don't give up. Just stay going. Keep going. Keep pursuing what you believe in. No matter how many haters, no matter how many naysayers, no matter how much is going on, just keep going. That's like the message of this video. Is not only just my own little story, which I miss a shit ton in there, but it's that. Do not give up. Don't give up. I don't care how lost you become. I don't care how depressed you become. I am an advocate of all these things. I get depressed, anxiety, all these things. I learned the hard way. I put myself through the trenches because I'm like some form of masochist, and that's okay because at least you're doing something. So just keep going, and if you have a dream, stick with it because your dream matters. Your dream is going to give you fulfillment. It's not just about the money. I did that. I did snow removal. I was like all in the money. Oh, money, money, money. I was up on my money mountain. Well, money don't buy happiness because I ended up being miserable. I made myself sick, depressed, and burnt the fuck out. You know? Anyway, love you guys. Thank you for watching. And seriously, I look forward to coaching you guys and helping you achieve your dreams. I'm here to help you awaken. I'm here to help you build an aesthetic physique, functional, healthy, all that stuff. That's why I'm here, to serve you. One king to another. Thanks. Have a beautiful day, guys. Cheers.